Hi, I'm Linda, and this is No Frills ASMR. I got this fun book the other day called 100 Facts on, you think it would be about, wouldn't you? Ancient Rome. Have you guys heard that thing where they test people and ask how often they think about ancient Rome? And men think about it multiple times a day for various reasons. And women don't think about it. I think that's how it went. So I just thought we could flip through and look at a couple of pages and see what they have in here. This book was published in 2001. It says, ooh, look at this cool picture. The center of an empire. Huh. I think I may have been here. There was a place I went, and you walk in through here, and over here they had ancient ruins, but they were pits, and they told us they were the toilets. And I think there was some way they made the aqueduct system or something actually have like water rushing through, so they could have like private, water running toilets. I was like, what? So interesting. No wonder people think about it. Rome was a city in central Italy, and it ruled one of the world's greatest empires. An empire is made up of many different countries governed by a single ruler. Okay, that makes sense. Is this the Colosseum? Rome began around 1000 BC as a village of wooden huts, but soon grew rich and powerful. It was busy, crowded, noisy, and exciting, with many beautiful buildings. By 200 BC, the Romans ruled most of Italy and started to invade neighboring lands. They conquered a vast empire that stretched between what we now call Scotland and Turkey. Isn't that something? People always say, they wouldn't want to time travel to the past because people would be all stinky and smelly. But something tells me the Romans, at least the rich Romans, probably weren't that stinky. Guys, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to get a Halls because my voice is dry. Okay, over 1 million people lived in Rome. By around 8300, Rome was the largest city in the world. There's a stone statue of a horsey. Like a lot of these, I think, how they were here, if they're not excavated, the dirt will go like all the way up to here. And then when they excavate it, they keep finding more and more. I think, maybe. Don't quote me. There were citizens who could vote and serve in the army, and there were non-citizens who did not have these rights. The government was run by nobles and knights who were usually very rich. Plebeians, is that how you say that word? Or ordinary people were usually fairly poor, but were citizens of Rome. Slaves were not citizens. They were not free to leave their owner and had no rights. That's terrible. There used to be a video game, like early times video game on your computer in the 90s. I'm trying to remember what it was called. It wasn't called Rome. I can't remember, but I used to play it like after I finished work at Red Lobster. I'd come home and play. And it would sit there and have a red light that blinked that went, send more plebes, send more plebes. And you'd be like, ah, and you had to build your city and get the water correct. And it was fun. The Forum. The Forum was the government district in the center of Rome. Okay. People went there to meet their friends and business colleagues, discuss politics, and listen to famous orators who made speeches in the open air. The Forum was mainly a marketplace surrounded by government buildings such as offices and law courts. Rome was a well-protected city. The Romans were great water engineers. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. My throat is so dry. They designed aqueducts, raised channels to carry water from streams in faraway hills and mountains to the city. The richest Roman homes were supplied with constant running water carried in lead pipes. Ordinary people had to drink from public fountains. You wonder about that. If the public fountains didn't have lead pipes, they may have been better off than the rich who had the lead pipes and drank all that lead. Rome relied on its trains. Rome was so crowded that good trains were essential. Otherwise, the citizens could have caught diseases from sewage and died. The largest sewer, called the Cloaca Maxima, was so high and so wide that a horse and cart could drive through it. What is this? I don't believe it. Roman engineers also designed public lavatories. These lavatories were convenient but not private. Users sat on rows of seats side by side. Yeah, that's what I saw. But, they said, they just sat there side by side. But how do we know they didn't have, like, a curtain? Because that would be gone. It's altogether possible. Maybe they know. I guess they're smarter than me, but I don't know. City life. The Romans built the world's first high-rise apartments. Most of the people who lived in Ostia, a busy port close to Rome, had jobs connected with trade, such as shipbuilders and money changers. They lived in blocks of flats known as insulae. A typical block was 3 or 4 stories high, with up to 100 small, dirty, crowded rooms. Is that how you spell stories? I don't think so. It looks not correct. Don't you IES it? I don't know. Rich Romans had more than one home. Rome was stuffy, dirty, and smelly, especially in summertime. Wealthy Roman families liked to get away from the city to cleaner, more peaceful surroundings. They purchased a house, a villa urbana, just outside the city, or a big house surrounded by farmland, a villa rustica, in the countryside far away from Rome. Wow. I bet that was nice. I mean, look. Looks nice. Many Roman homes had a pool, but it was not used for swimming. Oh, okay. Pools were built for decoration in the central courtyards of large Roman homes. They were surrounded by plants and statues. Some pools had fountains. Others had mosaics, pictures made of tiny colored stones or squares of glass, covering the floor. How do they know if they didn't swim in it? Oh, look at this. This is crazy. Look at this. Fortunate families excuse me, had hot feet. Homes belonging to wealthy families had underfloor central heating. Blast of hot air warmed by a wood-burning furnace circulated in channels built beneath the floor. The furnace was kept burning by slaves who chopped wood and stoked the fire. Well, the slaves part's bad, but the idea is interesting. Look, it even has like the walls have like a hole, so the hot air goes into the walls and under the floor. I wonder if it was smoky. It's interesting. Make a paper mosaic. Rome had its own fire brigade. Well, yeah, they probably needed because these things. So 7,000 firemen were all specifically trained freed slaves. Ordinary families could not afford central heating, so they warmed their rooms with fires in big clay pots, which often set the house alight. Uh-oh. Oh, there's the market. Okay. Going shopping. Rome housed the world's first shopping mall. It was called Trajan's Market and was built on 5 different levels on the slope of the Quirinal Hill in the center of Rome. It contained over 150 different shops, together with a large main hall. Wow. How cool is that? It's like a shopping mall, isn't it? You bring this in and fill it up with olive oil and fill one with wine. Get your sack of grains to make your dough. Probably, they even sell the bread baked here. Nice. The Romans liked a bargain. Most prices were not fixed. People haggled until they had agreed on a deal. Roman shoppers had to get up early. Many shops and market stalls closed at noon. Shoppers also had to walk a long way to make purchases, as different goods were sold in different parts of the city. Eating and drinking. Whoa. Look at this fun party. I want to go. They're like laying in a bed eating chicken drumsticks. Nice. Most Romans ate very little during the day. They had bread and water for breakfast and a light snack of bread, cheese, or fruit around midday. They ate their main meal at 4 p.m. In rich people's homes, a meal would have 3 separate courses and could last for up to 3 hours. People ate much simpler foods, such as a soup made with lentils and onions, barley porridge, peas, cabbage, and tough, cheap cuts of meat stewed in vinegar. I don't know, they make it sound like a lentil soup or barley porridge would be bad, but I bet they're yummy. I like a lentil soup. Only rich Roman people had their own kitchen. They could afford to employ a chef with slaves to help him in the kitchen. Ordinary people went to pompanae, cheap eating houses, for their main meal, or bought ready-cooked snacks from roadside fast food stalls. At parties, the Romans ate lying down. That's crazy. I think your neck might start to hurt. Yeah, they're all on beds. Look at that. Men and women lay on long couches arranged around a table. They also often wore crowns of flowers and took off their sandals before entering the dining room. Yeah. 9 was the ideal number of guests for a dinner party, but many people had more. That would be kind of fun to do a theme party and set it up with beds, and everybody wears flower crowns. Dishes served at a Roman banquet might include shellfish, roast meat, eggs, vegetables, fresh fruits, pastries, and honeyed wine. The Romans enjoyed strong flavors, spicy food, and also sweet and sour flavors. What is this? Real Roman food. Patina de Paris. That's not it. De Paris? Paris? I don't know. Pear souffle. What? 1 kilogram of pears, 6 eggs, 4 tablespoons of honey, a little bit of oil, a pinch of salt, a half teaspoon of cumin, ground pepper. Okay, so this book is written like with kilograms. Maybe that's why that story's spelled different. Some kind of European. Mash the pears together with the pepper, cumin, honey, and a bit of oil. Add the beaten eggs and put into a casserole. Cook for approximately 30 minutes in a moderate oven. Serve with a little bit of pepper sprinkled on top. What? I can't really imagine what this would taste like. Interesting. School days. Roman boys learned how to speak well. Roman schools taught 3 main subjects: reading, math, and public speaking. That's probably a good idea. Boys needed all 3 skills for their future career. There were no newspapers or television, so politicians, army leaders, and government officials all had to make speeches in public, explaining their plans and policies to Roman crowds. Boys went to school from around 7 years old until age 16. Roman girls did not go to school. They mostly stayed at home, where their mothers or women slaves taught them how to cook, clean, weave clothes, and look after children. Girls from rich families or families who ran a business also learned to read, write, and keep accounts. Many of the best teachers were slaves. Schoolmasters and private tutors often came from Greece. They were purchased by wealthy people who wanted to give their sons a good education. The Greeks had a long tradition of learning, which the Romans admired. The Romans wrote a lot, but not on paper. They used thin slices of wood for letters and day-to-day business. For notes, Romans used flat wooden boards covered with wax, as the wax could be smoothed over and used again. Like a, what do you call those? I can't remember. For important documents that they wanted to keep, the Romans used cleaned and polished calf skin or papyrus. Rome had many libraries. Some were public and open to everyone. Others belonged to rich families and were kept shut away in their houses. It was fashionable to sponsor writers and collect their works. Many Romans read standing up. It was easier that way. It took time and patience to learn how to read from a papyrus scroll. Most were at least 10 meters long. Readers held the scroll in their right hand and a stick in their left hand, and they unrolled a small section of the scroll at a time. Romans made ink from soot. To make black ink, the Romans mixed soot from wood fires with vinegar and a sticky gum that oozed from the bark of trees. This sounds like a strange mixture, but some Romans' writing has survived for almost 2,000 years. Wow. Learn some Roman words. The Romans spoke a language called Latin. It forms the basis of many languages today, and below you can learn some Latin for yourself. Liber, I guess, or liber equals book. Epistola is a letter. Biblioteca is library. Vellum is calfskin. Stylus is a writing stick used with the wax tablets. Library, slaves who work in a library. Grammaticus is a schoolmaster. Pedagogus maybe, private tutor. Wow. Well, all right, we'll have to look through this some more. Let me get a piece of next time. That was kind of interesting.